Nintendo and RPGs go hand in hand. In fact, the Wii U has some of the best RPGs of the last generation. Games like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, games like, help me out here. Okay, maybe I was thinking about the Vita when it comes to a ton of great RPGs, but in many areas where the Wii U went wrong, the Switch aims to do better, and just one of those areas are RPGs. I have made a load of videos about RPGs coming to this system that I'm looking forward to, but I've never actually put together a list of some of the best, most enjoyable RPGs on this system right now that you can play anytime, anywhere, anyhow you want. One of the greatest things about having a portable system like this is being able to make progress in your 80 to 100 hour RPGs even when you're not home. So today we are taking a look at 10 really fantastic RPGs for the Nintendo Switch. And if you want to see more videos just like this all the time, every week, I never stop editing, I don't even sleep, I haven't slept in days, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss the next one, like I miss out on sleep. I'm tired, but I have coffee, so it's fine. First up on this list today, I told you guys I would talk about this, and I'm really excited to because I love this game, Battle Chasers Night War. If you're a fan of more traditional style JRPGs, Battle Chasers Night War brings a lot to the genre with some added twists. It's based on the Battle Chasers fantasy comic book series, having the cast of the series marooned on an island and forced to stop the plans of an evil sorceress in order to escape. In battles, you utilize your basic attacks to build up your mana overcharge, which then allows you to unleash much stronger attacks. The combat becomes quite complex throughout the game, constantly adding more to the gameplay, which allows you to discover your own ways to play. And I absolutely adore the way this game looks. The blend of the beautifully hand-drawn overworld map with the detailed 3D character models, expansive isometric dungeons, and gorgeous battle backgrounds all make for a very unique and cool looking game. Also, I'm a huge fan of comic books, and this game has an overall look and feel of you playing a comic book. Couple that with some great animations and you have the makings of a very memorable adventure. My only complaints in this game would be that the load times are a little lengthy in places, and it's kind of a grindy game. Grindy RPGs aren't my favorite, but I give this one a pass because it is so fun. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys something very exciting. 5 years ago, when I first started this YouTube channel, the very first person I ever collabed with on YouTube is Super Derek, and his whole thing is RPGs. He has some of the best, classiest RPG reviews on YouTube. So I couldn't make, in all good consciousness, a video about RPGs without inviting my buddy to come help me out.
Thanks, Wood. Let's talk about Romancing Saga 2. If you're much like me, then when you think about the golden age of RPGs, you're thinking of classic Super Nintendo and PlayStation titles like Final Fantasy IV and VI and Suikoden 2 and Grandia, the classics that we grew up with. But one of the games that we didn't get from that era was Romancing Saga 2, which on the surface looks a bit like Final Fantasy IV, but features character progression more akin to Rogue Legacy. The game takes place after a great danger has already came and gone, and you need to rebuild a kingdom. The game features permadeath, and in the event of a total party wipeout, you choose an heir who will take on your mantle as the leader of the kingdom, and that heir continues where you left off. The game was originally a Super Famicom title by Squaresoft, and much of that still shows through despite the visual update. But at just $25 on the eShop though, I think this game is definitely worth picking up.
Next we have South Park: The Fractured But Whole. I love that title. If you already are a South Park fan, I'm sure you're very aware of the South Park RPG video games. Since the dawn of the gaming world, movie and TV show based video games have often been huge missteps. Looking at you, E.T. for Atari, you almost cost us the entire gaming industry. But where most fail, South Park comes out of the gate swinging. Even if you aren't a fan of the TV series, you may love this extremely polished RPG. You will of course need to find crude humor and at times very tasteless jokes funny, but assuming you meet those qualifications, get set for an RPG adventure like no other. Explore the town of South Park, interact with characters, and partake in turn-based battles executed on a grid format. Battles in this game are all about positioning and having the right mix of characters for each battle. Each class has their own different abilities and their own ultimate moves. And this game isn't super heavy on the battling. There's a nice mix of questing, story discovery, exploring, and adventuring, which leaves the battles feeling fresh and thrilling each time time you find yourself in the middle of one. They did these games perfectly. For most of the game, it feels like you may as well be watching an episode of South Park. You just so happen to be in control. It's very impressive what they managed to do with this game. The only issues on Switch are, again, long loading times and a couple of frame rate issues, but nothing that's game breaking. If you haven't played this game before, playing it on Switch is a perfect first time.
One of the first Nintendo Switch RPGs that I was really excited to get my hands on was I Am Setsuna. The game was originally developed by the Tokyo RPG Factory, branch of Square Enix that's trying to get back into the roots of Squaresoft and Enix from the golden era of RPGs that I was just talking about. And when the game was announced, it actually got quite a bit of hype. And as it turns out, that hype was well placed. The game features a very somber and memorable story that won't soon leave you. Also worth noting is the fact that the battle system of I Am Setsuna was inspired by none other than the little hidden gem some of you might know as Chrono Trigger. The game will take about 25 hours to beat, and at about $40, it's a game that's worth picking up if only to vote with your wallets to show Square that yes, this is exactly the kind of RPGs we want.
Super Derek just gave us a look into the brilliant game I Am Setsuna, so let me follow that up with the follow-up of that game and talk about its spiritual successor, Lost Sphere. This game is an absolute love letter to JRPGs, capturing the essence of what made a fantastic RPG game back in the early 2000s. Once again developed by Tokyo RPG Factory, the story starts with you and your friends leaving town to complete a short quest, but when you come home, well, you don't. There's no home. It's gone. It went missing. Parts of the world begin to disappear, and only you have the ability to restore the memories of that which is lost. Now, when I first started playing this, I was hooked by that story. I loved the concept. There was so much mystery around it and intrigue. I wanted to know what was going on. But honestly, really quickly after that, the story just became repetitive and I wasn't in love with it anymore. I didn't like the direction the story went in. It was kind of a snooze fest. But the game itself and the gameplay was so enjoyable that I still couldn't put it down. I just found myself skipping a lot of dialogue. Don't hate me. My issues with the story aside, the Chrono Trigger-like gameplay and absolutely breathtaking visuals was more than enough to keep me playing throughout. I will say though, there were times that I felt like the difficulty level spiked really high very abruptly. More than likely that was just me sucking in the game. Super Derek played it too and he had similar issues around the same places, but it's still a gorgeous game that's very much worth playing. It's an excellent follow-up to I Am Setsuna. It is an absolute perfect JRPG nostalgia game though. It borrows so many elements from older RPGs and the look and the feel of the entire game. I dare you to play it and not feel like you're 15 again. I mean, however old you were, I was probably around 15, playing games like this for the first time.
Now this next game is a bit of a long-running series of wacky strategy RPGs, but Disgaea 5 Complete is a totally perfect place to pick up even if you're new to the series. Although for people who are returning to the series, Nippon Ichi Software have included lots of references and characters from previous entries just for you. Beware though, the game is very long. You can easily clock in well over 50 hours into the main story alone. But that's not all, because there's also plenty of post-game content for those who really fall in love with the game to keep you gaming well beyond 70 hours. The battle system is super deep and allows the player to get into the nuts and bolts of character customization, but if you're not already into strategy RPGs, it might end up feeling a bit overwhelming. But if you're into that sort of thing, then there's no better game that scratches that itch for you on your Nintendo Switch than Disgaea 5 Complete.
I'm just wondering, does anyone here still need me to even recommend Stardew Valley? Just in case you're one of those people that haven't played this game yet, let me tell you a little bit about it. For you RPG fans that love to get your farming on, Stardew Valley is perfect for you. It blends the farming simulator and RPG genres in such a fantastic way that works on so many levels. Spend your days growing crops on the farm, spend your nights entering mines, defeating creatures, and find resources to upgrade your equipment. Discover multiple new areas to explore, never knowing where your journey is going to take you next. I'll be honest, I've never really enjoyed the farming simulator genre. The gameplay is often repetitive to me, but there is nothing repetitive about Stardew Valley. There's always another different adventure around the corner. When you aren't farming, fighting, or crafting, you can head into town and make relationships and friends. I wish it was that easy in real life. I have no friends. This is one of those absolutely perfect for Switch video games. I couldn't think of a better evening than sitting by the fire with a glass of red, smooth, jazzy tunes softly playing through your record player as you sit on your big comfy couch, fire crackling in front of you, playing Stardew Valley. Or, you know, sitting on the toilet pinching a loaf and getting poo specks on your system, whatever kind of person you are.
As a big fan of the Dragon Quest series, and as someone who has spent more than a little bit of time with Minecraft back in the day, Dragon Quest Builders takes the best of both of these genres and provides a unique experience on the Nintendo Switch. What it boils down to is a voxel-based action RPG that is honestly about as far removed from the original Dragon Quest as you can get. While a huge departure from the series' roots, the game is still a ton of fun to play, and Dragon Quest Builders features classic enemy character designs by Akira Toriyama, a series staple that somehow helps builders still feel distinctly like Dragon Quest, even though it's pretty far removed. Dragon Quest Builders is a surprisingly fun and addicting game that is well worth the $50 to pick it up.
A game that had a very interesting development story, Earthlock. I need to start this with the story of Earthlock's development because I am so impressed by it. Initially, this game was released in 2016, and then the developers immediately began work on Earthlock 2. However, the reviews for their first game, this game, were very mixed. Most people enjoyed the game but felt it was lacking in a lot of places. The development team decided they agreed and couldn't leave the game the way it was, so they immediately began work on remastering and fixing their own game. Massively changing the story and adding a load of new content such as side quests, mini games, new scenes and characters, better animation, improved cutscenes, huge performance optimization, and even more. Even giving the game out for free to anyone who had already bought it. That's so impressive to me. I love that so much. It's one thing to take criticism and work on it for the next game or work on it while you're making a game, but to go back and fix things and remaster your own game immediately and make it better and make it to the point where you're happy with it and everyone else is happy with it, I gotta commend that. I love that. And now you can grab this game on Switch, and I really do recommend it. The game's art style is done in a very similar way to late 90s RPGs, but it's definitely a huge upgrade visually from those older games. The battle mechanic is really fun. You can switch characters between a few different stances mid-battle, which allows you to attack in different ways. And as you can imagine, with multiple characters and multiple stances, battles can get quite technical. It's not a perfect RPG, but it's still very enjoyable. There's a lot more I could talk about if I hadn't spent so much time on the development of the game, but RPG fanatics will find a lot of fun within Earthlock.
And the last game from me is a game that you've also heard Wood talk about, but while it wasn't exactly his cup of tea, that shouldn't deter you from taking a closer look at Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The world of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is absolutely massive, and at times that might be a bit of a detriment to some people, but as much of frustration as that can be, it can also just give you an amazing sense of exploration. This game is a massive game by Monolith Soft, the people behind Xenogears and Xenosaga, but you don't have to have played those games in order to enjoy Xenoblade 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is pretty much the must-play RPG on the Switch. It is the big one as of right now. So if you don't mind getting lost in an alien world of some futuristic fantasy adventure, then you cannot go wrong.
If you love the Switch, I'm doing my best to bring you all of the amazing games, RPGs, eShop games, upcoming games, physical games that are out right now that you can go and buy that are really fun that you might not know about. I'm making all of these videos for you guys, but also somewhere along the line, I fell in love with these videos. I didn't think I'd ever do list videos, and I definitely didn't think I would do this many. I used to hate top 10s and 10 this and 32 this, but weirdly, the more I make them and the more you guys enjoy them, the more I fall in love with them and the more I keep trying to think of different ideas of videos to make. So if you can think of an idea for a list video, let me know down below. What did you think of this video though? Did you find an RPG that you might want to play? Let me know if I missed any RPGs. Remember to like this video, subscribe because we become best friends, but don't only subscribe to me, subscribe to Super Derek as well. Huge thank you to Derek for helping me out with this video. Again, his RPG videos are second to none. He's a really fantastic creator that deserves more love for so many reasons. Please, he's a super nice guy, pun not intended. He really is one of my closest friends, and his channel needs more love. There'll be links down below for that. As always, thanks to the Patreons, and as always, thanks to you guys for watching this video. I gotta be honest though, it's hot as heck right now. I had a guy come out to look at the aircon twice in the last 3 days. It's freezing over constantly. They've replaced one part. I don't know if you can tell, but it's not freaking working. I still want to film another video. It is 1,000,000,000 degrees. The thermostat says it's 85 degrees in the house right now. I can't even with how hot it is. I do this for you. I wish I could wait till the aircon was working, but unfortunately, none of us have that luxury with the way YouTube works. I gotta work, or YouTube screws me. I don't know what to say. It's so hot though. See ya.